5.
Ha 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 ha. What's up, you guys? Welcome back to another video by your ultimate fave. If you are new here today, you know exactly what to do. Click that subscribe button, make sure to comment, like, and subscribe, which I already said, redundant, but anyway. But for all my returning subscribers, you know what time it is. You know what time it is. Grab that drink and let's start really uppercutting number first. All right. Okay, for anybody who wants to know what I'm having here, I'm actually having Johnny Walker Blonde with grapefruit. Oh, guys, grapefruit tonic. It's been the best thing since, I don't know, man. Since the best thing ever. When it comes to Dash, grapefruit tonic is it. With this Johnny Walker Blonde. What a delicious combo. Anyway, guys, welcome back to another TV recap by your ultimate fave. And judging by the title, you guys know exactly what time it is. It is time for us to actually do a TV recap of the new season of The Mommy Club. Now, you guys know how I do. Every time we start a new series, we have to do a quick character breakdown, let you know who's who in the zoo, because right after that, I just continue as per the episodes, right? So because Mommy Club is 3 episodes in of season 2, I just want to do a quick character breakdown because there are some new additions that we've seen from episode 1 off the bat. So I just want to do that and then we'll get into the crux of what's going on, right? First things first, if you have no idea what the Mommy Club is, you need to jump on because the Mommy Club is giving Real Housewives of Durban a run for their money. I just want to say off the bat, whoever is running the cinematography, the digital, the cinema, whoever the production company is for the Mommy Club, salute! Salute! What a visually appealing first episode. And I think I obviously saw that whilst we're watching and trying to get to know the ladies, there's just something that is so visually appealing about the episodes. It's almost movie-like. Even the intro, even the song, I was like, what in the telenovela is this? I thought this was a reality show. Where's the quirky music? Where's the, you know? But something about this season with the Mommy Club is giving elegance. It's just, honestly, from a visual perspective, Mommy Club beats Real Housewives of Durban 10-0, 10-0, 10 panda. You understand? Mommy Club from a visual perspective, you can tell when Showmax is putting in budget in a show. You can actually tell that when the production asks for budget and they are given budget, because ain't no way you gonna do your 40th at Tiger's Milk. Yes, babe, that's shade to you. And if you guys have no idea what I'm talking about, then rush over to my other recap with the Real Housewives of Durban and it'll fill you in. But anyway, this new season of Mommy Club is giving poise, elegance, baby. Like, just from episode 1, right? But let's not ramble too much on that stuff. Let's just jump into the characters. Now, we have our OGs who started season 1. And now the first lady that I'm obviously going to touch on is Mrs. Mops, honey. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I like Mrs. Mops. I don't know if I'm secretly attracted to her because she's really, really beautiful, and actually she's beautiful in person. And if you know what I'm talking about, I actually had Mrs. Mops as one of my guests for my top 5, and my top 5 is my show on Channel O. And I'm gonna be really honest, there was a point where we were sitting down with the team and we're just like, dude, we need more things that, like, more people that I want to interview. And one of the things that I said is that I do TV recaps, right? And so when they got Mrs. Mops, yay! Got it, exactly. That's it. Mrs. Mops is even prettier in person. Like, I really, this is not like, I'm not trying to be subjective, okay? Like, I love you. Like, I want to be yours. Like, Mr. Mops, do we really even need him? Like, come on. Anyway, Mrs. Mops is the first Mommy Club, or the first wife of the Mommy Club. And basically from season 1, if you guys checked Mrs. Mops' role, she was kind of like the glue that was bringing the group together. More so, sort of maybe became the instigator at some point or the other. Yes, there is a head that is bothering me. And if you guys can see it through my camera, I know. I'm aware. Mrs. Mops is obviously the first wife of the Mommy Club, or the first mommy. that I'm gonna talk about. And guys, if I use housewife and mommy club interchangeably, please don't like give me flack for that, because the mommy club does consist of married housewives with kids. So the element of the mommy club that separates real housewives is that they are really more so focused on the element of their relationship with their children. And I think season 2 really started off with a banger. We really did see more of the children. It really did incorporate more of what the mommy club was about. But Mrs. Mops is the first one on my list. She was definitely one of the OGs. She was always my favorite from season 1. And I know that a lot of people felt some type of way about Mrs. Mops towards the end of season 1, because they felt like Mrs. Mops was kind of getting into a whole bully girl element. But to be really honest with you guys, I didn't get that. I really didn't get that at any point. I think Mrs. Mops has always kind of been true to the essence of what's wrong and what's right. Now, the only thing my mind is still quite hazy about is the fallout between her and Miss Munch, because that was never truly discussed in season 1. If we actually go back to the drawing board and see how they ended on season 1, the reason why Miss Munch and Mrs. Mops didn't really end on a good note had really nothing to do with an intimate fight between the two of them. It had more to do with Mrs. Munch kind of swaying towards Nurai and Rati and kind of maybe having those conversations with them. And now mind you, let's not forget the element that Mrs. Mops and Mrs. Munch were never like bosom buddies. They knew each other on social media, they were very friendly with one another, but they were never really friends to that degree. So for them to fall out is, I don't know if that would ever be like a conversation that would be had. I don't know if it would be necessary, but I guess a lot of people want to know, because Mrs. Munch did not come to the reunion. And now we all don't know why. I mean, in this new season, she does kind of dwell on it, but we'll touch on that when we do the recap, right? So Mrs. Mops is still definitely one of my favorite mommies in the mommy club. She's in my top 2. Really love her, really true to the essence. Like, she's really grown on me despite the stance she took in season 1. And now, I know how you guys feel about the stance from season 1. I know that Nurai had a really big group of people who were supportive of her with that previous situation that happened with Omuhle, and rightfully so. But I just felt like to a certain degree there were elements that people were missing about Nunurai's character towards Mrs. Mops' friend, that being Omuhle, right? So Mrs. Mops had a side to choose, and she chose her friend's side. And as much as we're not going to obviously digress and divulge into that, you need to understand that Mrs. Mops' loyalty has really shown itself. Like, it's peeled away, and you're seeing that she's really true to her core, her group of people. You understand? So my stance on Mrs. Mops doesn't change. Absolutely love her. If anything, I am really just loving how vulnerable she's become this season. From episode 1, we'll touch on that, but she's number 1. Damn, she might be number 2. I'll explain. The next the next mommy that I want to talk about is none other than Her Majesty Happy Simelane, my queen. Sweet, eh? Guys, let me tell you guys something. For me, when I do TV recaps, right, I'm very emotional about the situation at hand, but it's very rare that I find myself really liking someone towards the inability to be able to have discernment, right? But Happy is one of the very few women on reality TV that she has me. Like, she really has me. There's something about Happy that is just so raw and so true, and that makes her reality TV gold. And not just reality TV gold, like, she's just, you can tell her pretend this is just who she is, and that's what makes her even better for me. I mean, you can already tell in this new season she's bringing spice, but we'll touch on that. I just want to let you know that Happy is definitely number 1 on my list of favorite mommies in the mommy club. Mrs. Mops is number 2. And it's only just divided by the fact that, it's only just obviously leveled by the fact that I feel like I resonate towards Happy in terms of her character, in terms of her nature. She is someone that I want to see when I'm saying reality TV. I want to wanna Nontonto. I want to wanna Maka. I got to want Miss Munch, Ari Brendile Arena, she didn't come for vibes. You know why you didn't come to the reunion? And Scartena. Talking about I want good vibes. Girl, bye. I love you, but girl, bye. The next mommy that we have is Miss Munch. Miss Munch was always just like a bundle of joy. Like, Miss Munch, you can tell, she's just full of energy. She's a bundle of joy, and I can't help but smile and be happy that she's back for season 2, because when she didn't come on the reunion, I was very nervous about her not coming back potentially. So I was quite surprised when she made her debut comeback. I was like, yay, but we're not a guy winner. Why something about her comeback makes me really happy, ecstatic, but it also makes me question her character and her ability to stand on 10 feet, 10 toes in the sand. Because what was the point of you not coming to the reunion if you don't like the bad vibes? Come on now. That can't be it. It's not like you were anybody's target. It's not like you were on the firing line with anybody. So why come back now as if everything is fine? You know good and well that all those ladies had to sit there and address each other, and it might have not been the most comfortable situation, but you were there all season trying to be the gift of the givers. Like you were trying there to be the voice of reason. All change. And now all of a sudden you don't want to come because it's bad vibes. Bad vibes for who? Nobody was firing targets at you. So why didn't you come? And I personally, Tsaho, I don't believe that. I think it's a whole lot of hogwash. I think there's a reason why you didn't come. I think to a certain degree you knew that Nurai, what she did was fucked up. But I think Miss Munch, and this is just going off my intuition, I think Miss Munch really likes her relationship with Mrs. Mops. However, she really does like Nurai as well. And I think she was caught in a rock and a hard place because she had to, if she was going to admit that the ladies did Nurai dirty, then she also had to admit that Nurai overstepped her boundaries with Omuhle. But she wasn't willing to do that because she really did care about Nurai. So that also put her in a very kind of sour taste with Mrs. Mops and happy, which was okay. And so maybe those were the vibes that she was running away from, because we don't know what they discussed off camera with Miss Munch or what she could have potentially said about Nurai and all of them before she became close with them. That's just a theory. Let's leave that theory to brew for a little bit. Let's see how season 2 plays out. But I don't think she was leaving because of the bad vibes. I think she ran. I think she ran because she knew that if she had to stick up for Nurai, she then has to stick up for the things that weren't on camera. I hate to say it, but I've got a hunch. Call me Sherlock Holmes, call me Nancy Drew, call me Naledi Official, the investigator. But something about her not being there and then coming back was definitely leaving room for a lot of things to be thought, a lot of thoughts to be thanked, and a lot of thanking to be discerned. You understand? So that's one thing. The next mommy who came back is Rati. Now I'm gonna be honest. I think I was a little bit too harsh on Rati last season. You know, I think Rati, guys, I don't think it's actually an act. I think she genuinely is this very put together person because, and I'll tell you why I say that, because in this new season, I thought she's gonna bring a little bit of sass. I thought maybe last season, what perform, and I don't know. But it turns out that maybe Ratile really is a put together woman. I am really liking Ratile off the first and second and third episode. I like how vulnerable she's being. I really did respect Ratile towards the end of the reunion when we were doing the recap. Well, I didn't do the recap, but I was watching the reunion and how everything was being addressed of the things that Ratile said. And she may have said some things that were not so kind, that were actually quite horrible. You know what I mean? But also, I appreciate her ability to apologize and be, you know, accountable, because that's a lot of things people can't do, especially grown adults. Adults don't want to be sorry. Like, you want to go to the grave knowing that you've got beef with someone. Like, dude, you 63, dog. Say sorry. And the apology is not necessarily meant to humble you as a person or say, I'm sorry I was wrong. No, it's saying, I'm sorry that my actions brought you this discomfort, whatever. I may have not realized that my actions were so wrong at the time, but I am now being an adult to say that I acknowledge that it was not in good faith. And someone who can watch the show back and sit there and say sorry and take all the jabs from Happy that she was taking, it made me respect her a little bit more. It made me respect her a little bit more, because I'm really sorry. Like, it would take, I can apologize, but it would take the strength of Job for me to apologize multiple times. I know it's all a thing. Ar Shapani once. Ar Shapani sharp. Start from scratch. We have no more beef anymore. Because this thing of me apologizing and you thinking that because I've apologized is because I'm acknowledging that you're right and I'm wrong, that's not how apologies work, babe. I'm saying sorry because you clearly have a problem. Oh my God, I'd be so bad for reality TV. You guys would hate me. Go at night. Woo! Anyway, those are the 4 ladies. Oh, the next one on the mommy club, the next mommy who is also an OG is Nurai. Now, honestly, I still have like my feelings towards Nurai haven't changed. And I know that this is obviously going to be a cause of concern in the comments, because I know there's a lot of people who like Nurai. I like Nunarai's brazenness. I like Nurai to be able to stand up for what's right. But there were a lot of things that Nurai did last season that I just didn't fuck with. And honestly, it's really tainted her as an individual, because it's just like, yeah, okay, and I really don't like Nurai. She's my least favorite, and I don't see it changing because I feel like Nurai saw an easy way out. And when I say easy way out, this is what I'm talking about, so that we're not confused. Nurai and Omuhle had a fight last season, and the argument initially began with Nurai prying into Omuhle Gela's private affairs and then claiming that they were on the blogs, wanting to know something that like is what more or less is happening on Real Housewives of Durban, prying into sensitive information about Amy. Now, what shocks me is the reception, okay? The reception is that what I received is that once Omuhle made that comment, which was also equally as distasteful and as whatever, Omuhle at some point did apologize on social media, and yes, I saw it because I follow her. She did make a public apology. She did actually come out and apologize for it on multiple occasions. So Nunarai's dismissive nature and not wanting to acknowledge that maybe I also made a mistake here was pissing me off, and yeah, it still pissed me off personally. Like, I do not like Nurai. I don't want it to go unsaid, because when I do a TV recap, I try my best to be very objective, but we need to put in these disclaimers so that when I am being biased, and you know why I'm being biased, you know why I'm being biased, right? Besides, it's my channel. Start your own channels, do your own TV recaps. Duh. So the next lady that has come onto the scene, and that is probably gonna be in my top 3 mommies, is Nozipho. She just looks like a ball of calmness. She looks like she's such a sweet lady. Like, you can tell, oh no man, guys, this is a mom. Oh, it's sharp dog. Yeah, sharp. Maybe she's got like a netball team and a reserve, because the netball team is made up of 7 kids and you got 1 reserve. You actually need 2 reserves, but that's not the point. The point is, Nozipho and her little beautiful family, she seems so sincere, she seems so honest, she seems so open, and she just seems so earnest. And the thing is, women like that are very rare, hey? Especially with maybe someone who's in her space, where you're married to a wealthy man, and also she's pursuing her business careers, but obviously in the sentiment that her husband has been a very present breadwinner. I mean, she lives in a beautiful home. You can tell how she dresses. You can tell that she has money, and she has a lot of it, right? But I just like her ability to really humble herself in instances. I'm not saying that she must come there and shake the room like Happy. She doesn't have to be Happy Simelani, but she really does, you can tell her she's not someone who really gravitates towards conflict. If anything, she keeps to a corner. She's, very timid, very quiet. You know who I'm worried about? Mrs. J. Sunday. I don't enjoy it. And then, I'm wondering, she's waiting for it. Okay, so Mrs. J. Sunday is another lady who's also a new addition to the cast. I don't know if it's J. Sunday or J. Sunday. So it's either Mrs. J. Sunday, but I think it's actually Sunday, the day of the week. But I actually think it's Mrs. J. Sunday. So Sande. Sunday. So I'd like to think her husband's surname is Sunday. And Imali. Yeah. Donkey. I know, guys. No, Mrs. Sunday looks like she's raking in it, right? It's looking kalitola lava kalitola lava. And now Mrs. Sunday is obviously the new addition to the cast, but she was obviously introduced into the cast via Ratile, so we can safely say she is Ratile's friend, but she is an original cast member because she is in the intro. So I am honestly loving the cast right now. Let's obviously move on to the quick little recap. We're 3 episodes in, but I haven't really seen anything kind of bubble up on the forefront. But one thing I will touch on is Happy and Rati. Now, Rati, baby. Now, I'm not living under a rock, right? So all the things that happen with the housewives, I'm usually very privy to trying to get to understand, because I do these recaps, and obviously knowing all these things whether on and off the blogs gives me a lot more context into what's happening in their personal lives that we don't see on TV. And now one of the things that has transpired is that in the last reunion, Ratile did mention that Barbara, one of her long-standing nannies, is moving into a curtain business. I remember that, and I remember when I watched that scene, everyone was just like kind of side-eyeing each other, and I was like, why is everybody side-eyeing each other? Does no one believe this? Is she going broke? Like, what's going... The way everybody side-eyed each other, and I really want you guys to go watch that part, because it's still on Showmax, it's still available. If you watch the reunion where Ratile's like, yeah, Barbara's going to new ventures, she's gonna go find herself. I saw her peak on some... I saw Miss Mops on some, like they try to gauge on all the women, and it just didn't seem like the woman believed her. And I remember saying, okay, let's not touch on it. Maybe the woman, I thought it was a money issue. I genuinely thought, oh, Ratile doesn't have the money to pay Barbara, right? So I was like, okay, fine. She probably won't have a nanny this season. That's fine. We can live with that, because we weren't really, guys, my hair. It's getting in my eye. It's pretty evident that I don't think they actually cut this evenly, unless I actually didn't put it evenly. Who knows? Anyway, this is not about my hair. This is about the woman. But actually, when you look at it, I think this part, they did it really well, and then this part is just a little bit just off. Episode 1 obviously starts off with the women showcasing their lives. You can see that Happy has a better relationship with her daughter, Disedzo, the one she's been having difficulties with in season 1, which is great. And season 1 basically starts off with an opening of just getting to know where the ladies are. Like, for example, Mrs. Mops talking about the fact that her house recently went on auction, which was so, yo guys, I was so sad when I saw that, but I really do commend Mrs. Mops's bravery to actually touch on that topic, because a part of me was very scared. Mrs. Mops has been a very put together woman. She's definitely been someone who doesn't really... Sorry guys, if I do this, it's because my hair is itchy and it's getting in my eyes. Now, Mrs. Mops has definitely been one of the esteemed and prestigious mommies in the mommy club. So for the season to start off with her really being honest and vulnerable was crazy, but it just definitely made me like her a lot more. I think she was touching on real life topics, she was touching on real life issues, and she was honest about her financial, well, I don't know if she was honest about her financial situation. She was just honest about the fact that they don't live in that house anymore. So we don't know if it's a result of financial issues. We don't know if it's a result of maybe a divorce that could be lingering, because she didn't really touch on why. She just said, this is our reality, this is what's happening. But I don't know if she's with her husband, because she was very tight-lipped about her husband, of which I think gave a lot of room for conversation around that. And then, but it was quite sweet to see her be so vulnerable, to sit down with her helper who also was crying in the confessionals on some, you know what, Mrs. Mops is actually a good person. And it convinces me that my intuition about these women, even if it's on camera and even if it's limited, has rarely ever been wrong. You know what I mean? Like, I've rarely ever been wrong, which is so surprising, because with TV, there's a lot of edits. They cut things to make it look a certain way. They cut things to make people look like villains. I know this firsthand. So to see her be so earnest and sincere about Mrs. Mops, I think was what really tugged at my heartstrings. But Mrs. Mops, we're definitely wishing you well. You are on the pinnacle of success. I think Mrs. Mops, you're gonna be okay, and well, you probably are okay as it is. We don't even know what's going on, but yeah, it was really heartwarming to see that interaction between herself and her helper. And that's obviously what's going on with Mrs. Mops right now. And then Happy is probing in people's business. Now, the whole thing with Ratile's helper obviously being like venturing onto bigger things, it turns out that Ratile had actually fired Barbara. And now it's very like questionable about the manner in which she was, you know, let go. And it turns out that Barbara's good friends with Happy's helper. Happy's nanny, right? So now this is when the story starts getting interesting. Now you can already tell where the season is going. And now mind you, I know you guys are going to say, yeah, no, it's not fair of Happy to do this. Happy's so full of shit. Happy starting drama. You guys need to remember the kind of character Ratile was last season when Happy was talking about her husband. You understand? You guys need to remember the kind of character. Now, mind you, don't get me wrong. Love Ratile, don't think anything is wrong. But you guys need to remember the shit that Ratile was saying about Happy in the diary sessions with the other ladies about Happy and her cloud chasing pinnacle moments using her dead husband. So if you're gonna sit here and tell me Happy's trying to get a moment, whatever, yes, she is, and rightfully so. That's a lick back that she needs to get, because you forget that Ratile and the things that she was saying, she said if Happy died, it wouldn't change the price of bread. And I'd actually forgotten about that comment until I saw it on Twitter. And I was like, ish, kana Ratile. Hey, you also, like, how you gonna say that? But honestly, let's keep it a buck. Ratile, love you so much, but you had this coming. You had this coming. It was about time. You are the target and you are on Happy's hit list. And there is absolutely nothing wrong with that, because it is warranted. Happy might not be doing it in a very tasteful manner, but then at the end of the day, it's like, had you not been barking up Happy's tree last season, the tree wouldn't be barking up your alley. You understand what I'm saying? And I saw people saying, yeah, she's calling Nozipo in private, but then she's calling out Ratile's business with her married husband. And I'm like, guys, did we all watch the same season last season? You guys are sitting there trying to nullify Ratile's actions to Happy by saying that Happy's doing shitty things. Happy's not doing anything. Happy is doing exactly what Ratile and the other cast members were doing last season. Like, Happy was going through a tough time. That was her first time on reality TV, and she was actually known for that situation. So, of course, she was going to speak about it. But then to turn around and say she wants a clout. The tables turn, the bridges burn, and the husbands cheat, and you learn. Let me just say something. Now, I saw the whole instance with Ratile's husband about him having some sort of, like a thing with a young girl who actually called out Ratile's husband. And she not only called out Ratile's husband, she called out how Ratile's husband hates the show, how Ratile's husband hates her, how Ratile's husband is so unhappy, and how basically she has a baby with Ratile's husband. Mama, also side chicks don't have decorum, hey? Like, on a serious note, you as a side chick, you also don't have decorum. You knew that my husband was married to me. You knew that my husband was messing around with you while he was with me. And now you want to use social media. Why? Why some musical small claims cards? Don't talk about me. How am I involved in all of this? You know what I mean? I think that girl, what she did was definitely to get a rise out of Ratile. I think it had absolutely nothing to do with the husband. I think she wanted a response, but her anger was seemingly, surprisingly not targeted at the husband under any circumstance, which is very surprising if you ask me. Very questionable. Very, very questionable. But anyway, we're just gonna assume and go by the assumption that maybe the husband was kind of icing her out or whatever, but she did that to get a reaction. And it's kind of like, you know what, dude, if you're gonna be a side chick, bro, you need to understand the game that you're getting into. You understand? This is why not available side chick because vele na ginalus kwele. Understand? So what she did, I don't know if it was obviously causing drama for the show or it's really happening, because in the little snippet towards end of episode 3, Ratile says there is no kid involved. And I'm like, is that what your husband told you? Because if there's one thing I can assure you of, don't ever believe a man under any condition, under any circumstance. Do you hear me? So The goal was going on and on and on and on, and obviously Happy has a lot of ammunition this season, which we obviously saw in the end credits of episode 3. But one of the things that she probed on was the fact that Barbara's dismissal, or Barbara's reasoning to leave. And it turns out that Barbara didn't leave, she was fired. And it also turns out that Barbara being fired, as per Ratile's husband's instructions, was Mama wanted me to do this. And also Barbara kept emphasizing 7.5 years, 7.5 years, 7.5 years. Barbara Bandla. You know what? It was a sad story to watch. It really was a sad story to watch, but it was also like, how much did they pay Barbara for this? You know what I mean? I'm just gauge I feel like how much did they pay Barbara for this? And how did they get her to get to this point? Unless it's really honest, like honest feelings. And to be honest, we don't even know these people in real life. What if Barbara's a hired actress? What if she wants to work on Uzalo, dog? Like, we don't even know these people, dog. We don't even know if Barbara really was Ratile's helper for 7 years. But obviously seeing that moment play out was really sad. Ratile, that was... Now, I think the only thing I'm dying to know is why Ratile lied, of which is going to play out in the coming episodes. I think these current episodes, everything had a slow start, but I think the first episode, they spoke about the fashion thing with Nurai and Miss Munch. Miss Munch coming back was also very questionable, but I think they pulled off a really special event. Her clothing was really nice. I really had nothing bad to say about it. They had their fashion event at Shepstone Gardens, which was beautiful. Nurai really pulled it off this time. It was great, but also in the same breath, it was kind of like I really didn't know what the intention was, because you knew that Mrs. Munch is going to do a fashion and flowers, but then you didn't tell the other ladies. So I don't know if you didn't tell them to kind of set them up, or you just didn't tell them because you didn't think there was a need for them to know. So it's fine. But episode 2 then commences with, I don't remember, like everything is just pretty flatlined for me. Like nothing is really taken off to get me to like this point, you know, like nothing has really made me sit here and say cha-cha. You know what I mean? So far, everything is really good. I think my top favorite moms right now are Miss Mops, Happy, and Nozipo. For now, I think I'm still a little bit indifferent about the rest of the ladies, that being Nurai, Miss Munch, Ratile, and Mrs. J. Sunday. I really haven't really kind of gauged where they stand in the grander scheme of things, because these 3 ladies are developing a relationship that's really taking off very quickly, and I'm happy to see it transpire. Because also in the same breath, I just feel like Nurai and Miss Munch, I think I'm trying to see if they're going to be about the gossip and engage in the conflict. I think they're trying to do something nice, but also at the end of the day, you need to understand, Nurai, nobody really messes with you. And well, the only person who messes with you right now is Miss Munch. I don't know about Ratile, I don't know what their stance is, but nobody's really like, well, maybe on the people that you didn't get along with last season, to sit with them and think they're gonna kiki and haha with you is crazy business. But maybe they will, who knows, you know what I mean? So that's why I'm saying, like, these first few episodes have started off on a very timid note. There isn't anything that's making me really question where the season is going. So I'm gonna give it a solid 6, the start. It could have, like, I mean, Real Housewives of Durban, it hit the ground running. Episode 4 and there's already like lines in the sand that are being drawn. So maybe episode 4 of the Mommy Club Showmax will give us something to really ponder on. But so far, I'm going to give it a strong 6. I think these ladies are all new. These ladies are all trying to be put together. They're all trying to keep it together. But I do think at some point, when Happy does start calling out Ratile for her shady behavior, the pot will start to boil. So anyway, comment down below and let me know what you thought of the first 3 episodes. I think they were a little bit lukewarm. They do have a little bit of like brewing in them, but I just don't know if we've hit that sweet spot, if we've hit that sticky part of the yogurt, the chewy part, the sweet. I think we're getting there though. We've been licking for a while now, 3 hours of us sitting. But so far, so good. I'm happy with the choice and the selection of the mommies. I'm happy with the return of the OGs. I'm really hoping Mrs. Munch gets a little bit of a backbone this season. I'm hoping Nurai makes a couple of apologies. I'm hoping Ratile accepts that she is the target. I'm hoping that Happy Simelane doesn't cause too much ruckus. And I'm hoping Mrs. Mops remains Mrs. Mops. honey. You understand? Anyway, guys, comment down below, let me know what you thought. But other than that, I am going to sign out. I don't have much to say on the Mommy Club, but I do think that it is a strong, solid cast. Comment down below and let me know what you think so far, on whose team you're on and what we should expect for the coming season. But until then, it's the Ultimate Fave signing out, and I will see you on the next recap of the Mommy Club.